watching West Wednesday 610, Justice for Tyrone West and Justice for All Victims of Police Brutality. Tawanda, it's all you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, just like my sister Queen just said, we're trying to get accountability, not just for my big brother, but literally for all the victims of police brutality and murder. We're going to play the video that we typically play every week when we're online, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Can't stop, won't stop, till killer cops or in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No,
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz. In a video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah,
Profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Sir, do me a favor, take out your keys.
Dad, you can record for what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now.
Yeah? And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardez Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered
on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 and 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
It's on.
How we want to go?
Go right ahead.
Yeah.
All right, mic check.
Mike check.
Mic check.
I'm up. Awesome. Thank you. Thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I have several announcements to make, and letting you know why I thought it was important for us to be online tonight, because we will be in the streets on next week. Well, actually, not in the street. We're going to be at an indoor conversation, pretty much at Red Emma's bookstore, in collaboration with the Uprising. That is very important. It's the 10-year commemoration coming up, and we will be in the building. And I will be a part of a panel discussion that features Mr. Allen, who pretty much took all the pictures, Devin Allen, who took all the pictures of the Uprising, and Lisa Stoughton, and many other people that, have, and it's going, my brother Easy Jackson is hosting, and it's going to be really, really great. Not great that the Uprising happened, because I wish that we could have prevented everything. I wish we could have got accountability for Freddie Gray. But again, when you don't have accountability, people are forced to do what they got to do. And that's just sad, And I was glad about it. Let's be crystal clear, because that's when people pull together for one fight, one cause, and one purpose type of thing. And we would be remiss if we forgot about Freddie Gray, and not just Freddie Gray, all the victims of police brutality and murder. It's sad, it's devastating, and it's traumatizing. So just wanted you guys to be aware of what was going on, and wanted you guys to mark your calendar. So we will be at Red Emma's bookstore, and I will be sharing the event page today, so make sure you get your tickets. It's free. Just click on and reserve your tickets, and we will see you in the building at 7 p.m. next West Wednesday. And it's a lot of stuff surrounding, Freddie Gray's 10-year I don't say anniversary, because to me an anniversary is something that you celebrate, that's joyous and good, but I say commemoration, just we will never forget Freddie Gray. Like, it's just really sad that, that ever happened. And that's why literally before Freddie Gray was murdered, we've been in the streets, And I can't believe that it's been 10 years since Freddie Gray, and now it's going on 12 years. With my brother's case this July, it's sad and ridiculous, and nobody family deserves to go through what our families are enduring in a fight that we never asked for, So it's just really sad. And another upcoming event that I'm excited about, mark your calendars for that Saturday. We will be in the building with my brother Judah. He does his event every year faithfully, dedicated to Freddie Gray, and it's always a beautiful thing. It's sad, like I said, that the circumstances in which surrounded and young Black man being murdered by people that's supposed to serve and protect. But at the same time, the space that we come into, the healing, the discussions, the bringing up things that need to be said and done, is very important. So I'm excited about Judah's event, Rise Up Baltimore, and I'm excited about the event at Red Emma's bookstore on next Wednesday. So I just want to make sure you guys are there, and I wanted to give a big shout out to like the Elder Project, just everybody that came out last week when we were in the streets supporting our sister Tia, for her bookstore, Urban Reads. And, just going out there and supporting, standing in solidarity with her, letting everybody that was watching, and we know that they were watching, that we support our queen, and, it's just sad that just because you try to do things right in America, then you'll be targeted. And it's just really sad when people can't push their agenda onto you. And racism always plays a factor of everything. And it's so disgusting and sad. And then literally for me to be with that queen the very next day and to have a nice event where we met the founders of the Me Too movement and another beautiful sister there, and we actually literally I saw for my own self, two white dudes that pretty much have been targeting my sister's store, literally riding down the block on dirt bikes, like really on Greenmount Avenue. Like this ain't in Roland Park or Federal Hill. This is literally in like pretty much the hood. And you can have racist people just ride through, infiltrating, something that they're not. And the saddest part, like all the stuff that I'm looking at that is happening on Greenmount Avenue, that whole stretch. And everybody knows when we're out, boots on the ground, we're always on that corner of Greenmount and 33rd. And as much as I wanted to be out there tonight, I know when to hold and when to fold. Like I could smell a setup as big as day for the simple fact that right now in America, and stuff has always been happening. Let's be crystal clear. I don't care on whatever administration. Stuff has always been happening. But we're just in real sad times where you can boldly be prejudiced and say what you got to say. Like literally people would say their little smart things under breath or at their family tables within their own circles, but now they're boldly saying it. And now you have the orange agent supporting this. And it's sad and disgusting, and it's very real. We think about he's only in 100 days in, and this foolishness is happening. Like so many federal employees have been laid off, like forced to take, like pretty much pay cuts, forced to say, oh, take this little pay or whatever, or go back to work. It's just really sad. We're in sad times of uncertainty. And, food prices are going up, gas prices. I just want everybody gas prices are going up. But what I want everybody to do is just kind of look back on the last past 60 days. We ain't got to do 100. Let's look back on the last 60 days, and I want you to pretty much take notes and see if things have gotten better for you, far as in our community, and, far as like the prices, our paychecks, just everything. See if things have gotten better or worse. I want you to take your own self-evaluation. And this is really sad that for me, I can't speak for y'all, but I can speak for me. It's terrible. Prices are going up right in front of our face. And I just think back to when the pandemic was happening, when, we would have the mayor say, if you see people price gouging, let us know what store it's in, let us know the price, and we're going to do something about that. And then, like, all that went out the window because everybody's price gouging now. It's ridiculous. It's so sad. And I really feel sorry for the people that really can't keep up with everything that's going on. It's a lot, it's a lot. But I just ask us to stay strong, stay firm, and, like, do your own research. And yesterday, like, when I was hearing about which the person Senator Cory Booker never did research on him or anything, but when I heard he did the filibuster and I heard he stood up for 24 hours, didn't eat, didn't drink, and was talking about the orange agent. So anybody that's against the orange agent, I got excited, and I pretty much without being a conscious consumer, I'm doing my own research, being a conscious consumer. I just put out there, like, oh my goodness, he's an American hero. Well, once my brother shared stuff with me, I had to take that down. I was wondering why, like, some people that was cool, we were laughing. And I'm like, why are they laughing? I'm like, whatever. Because I do know that some of my friends are Trump supporters, you know. It is what it is. I mean, to each his own. But what my brother shared with me was very disturbing. And I never even got a chance to do research on what he said. But this brother never puts out like false stuff. So when he was like, oh no, like yeah, he did that, but he was a part of, you know, what happened to Malcolm X being assassinated and all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, hold up, hold up. Like, I just got excited, but that's why that was just like another wake up call for me. Instead of like me jumping to put up something, I should have been my own conscious consumer and literally did research on this guy, because I did know like a lot of my friends that were sharing like love about what he did going up, which to me, I still commend anybody that goes up 24 hours to make points about all the foolishness that's happening in the world. But at the same time, we still got to be careful about what we spread without doing our own research. So that was just like an eye opener on all levels. So as soon as I was riding in the car, and when I got the notification, I was literally at a red light, and I pulled over safely to read my brother's message. And it said that, and I was like, okay, time to take this foolishness down. Thank you. And I gave him a salute and all that. But again, it's very important that instead of us listening to other people and their thoughts or just sharing something without knowing, not just when I saw it and I heard it, I was just like, wow, you know, somebody standing up, like, because I know with me, protest is very important. So however you do it, to me, is great. Like, if you want to do a protest and you want to, like, stand up and get your point out and tell somebody shut something down or just do something, I'm all with protests, right? That's just me. Y'all already know I never signed up for this test, but however, you know, this was a task that unfortunately families are pulled into and that we never asked for. And, you know, with me feeling strongly about what's happening in America, you know, I was just like, wow, this is deep. And then hearing what the media was saying, some of what the media was saying about him sounded really good. But then I was looking at you, like some of the prejudice channels that wasn't posting them. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he is an American hero or whatever. But next time before I rush to share something, I will do my own research and share from there. So, but again, I'm real excited about what's happening this upcoming week coming up. So, you know, just being able to be and just reliving. And I did so many exclusive interviews about Freddie Gray, and I'll be sharing the one that I did with the Real News. It was amazing. Shout out to the Real News that pretty much always gives us great news, like, and just love it because, like, you know, we need the media, but we need the media to work for us and not against us type of thing. So shout out to the Real News that always kept it real with me and my family from day one. And I remember, and may he rest in peace, meeting Eddie Conway, a former Black Panther, and just him being boots on the ground. I remember when Eddie first reached out to me, literally once he was released from doing that long prison sentence that he was sentenced to. He literally reached out to me and said, hey, you know, I want to meet you, Miss Jones. He was like, I've been watching you behind the screens while I was locked up in these walls, you know, behind the walls. I was watching what you're doing for your brother, and not just your brother. I'm fighting for the victims of police. I want to meet you. And I remember meeting Mr. Eddie, and we sat down there talking like we knew each other for a whole lifetime. And then anytime I would need him to come out to cover a West Wednesday, he'd be right there covering it. And then on times where he couldn't make it, he would send somebody out there to cover it as well. So just a shout out. And then I'm just kind of like looking back, and when you see stuff like that, the people, real people that was boots on the ground, that was with us, we have lost so many people that was in this fight for the long haul that literally, life happens and some people get sick, they pass away, some people get murdered. It's life happens, and it's sad that when we get to the point that the people that were out there in solidarity with us, we look around and then it's like they're no longer here. And it breaks my heart. And this is like, damn, just looking back and reflecting and just being back 10 years ago when Freddie Gray was first murdered, and me being in disbelief, like I told this city to pretty much tighten up and, hold these killer cops accountable, because if we don't hold people accountable, then people get reckless, and the fact that we're talking about a whole decade later, no one's still being held accountable. And that breaks my heart. It's just sad, and no accountability. And I'm sick of the done with, the West Coast, so many good things that happen, like good change. But to me still like crumbs. I'm ready for the big thing. I'm ready for the big feast. And the big feast to me is full accountability. Full accountability, where we see killer cops in a cell block, where we see that everybody has the pursuit of happiness. And the pursuit of happiness to me is when you get up in the morning and you don't have to worry about your children and your children's children being targeted because of their skin color and being pulled over by people that's supposed to serve and protect and murdered. And they just murder you. And then, God forbid, if that don't happen, then, so-called community violence that's happening at a high time rate, and then nobody gets caught. It's just bothering. It's just mind-blowing, and it's disturbing. So, again, I hate to scramble on, but it's just a lot going on in my mind. A lot in my mind and a lot going on in my head. And it makes you wonder the stuff that's happening nowadays. Like, literally, you think about racist people riding in our neighborhoods, right? Getting away with threatening a Black queen because she is a business owner, right? All because she's a business owner. And then, so if she's being targeted, what about other non-white people that have their own businesses that work really hard for them? They're being a target as well. It made my stomach flip open when I heard about the multiple shooting that happened over the weekend, where you have people that literally, like, two bikers came up from DC for these wonderful, egg rolls that they heard about via social media, that's like pretty much going like, viral, and everybody around, the world is like literally hearing about these egg rolls or on a national level type of thing, and they ride into our city to get a nice ride on a beautiful day, and you ride in, and then you're laying up in the hospital. Like, that breaks my heart. And then there was another lady that actually came from the county. It was just really sad. But the fact that anybody that knows, and you can ask me, we know Greenmount Avenue. Let's be crystal clear. We used to protest week after week right on Greenmount Avenue. And we know how much the police is there, nonstop around the block, watching us, harassing us. So you mean to tell me, and this is not the West Coalition, this is Tawanda Jones speaking. You mean to tell me that you can have a car pull up, right? And not just the passengers shooting out the window recklessly at people that ain't even do nothing. That ain't even like no community beef. Nobody did nothing. We just gonna randomly just shoot up at people that are standing right there. Like, we don't see no target. We're not beefing with nobody. We just gonna just start just shooting up the place, right? But not only does the passenger do this, you have the driver, the driver and the passenger is gonna get out and shoot with all those law enforcement officers that are up and down Greenmount feeling comfortable. And I haven't did my homework on that, but from what I do know up to this point is nobody got caught for that yet. And that to me speaks in volume. So, like, something's going on. Like, we need to really watch and be on alert right now, because anywhere the moment that anything can break out at any moment and happen. But we need to not believe what the media tells us. We need to do our own research. We need to, if something doesn't sound right, that might be a moment for you really to do extra research. Like, because if they're being able to get away with you're targeting a Black woman's store, all because she has a bookstore that she's doing great business for the community, and she's not only doing it for the community, she's giving back, like to the youth that are incarcerated. Her proceeds that she gets from her book sales, she's not just feeding her family with it. She's donating books to young juveniles in jail to read, because we know reading is very fundamental, right? So she's making sure that these young men and women that are incarcerated get these books that they really need to let them see things from another level. Perhaps maybe they might be inspired to write their own books or look at the world differently and do other things, right? So we're trying to save our community and doing stuff and giving back. You want to threaten a Black queen, and it just breaks my heart, because I remember when I was threatened, I had no one but just boots on the ground people that came out to West Wednesday. Shout out to my brother Ted Sutton. Shout out to Uncle Bill, JC. The list goes on. Like I had real boots on the ground people that actually stood by me and said, they keep on cutting Tawanda tires every day, y'all. Not every week. Every day I literally go outside and there's a tire banged into my there's a nail banged into my tire. Every single day, I lied to you not. And when they got tired of banging the nails in there, they just started cutting them. And it was to the point that every time I took and then the West Coalition, shout out to them, shout out to everybody that donated, we had to actually take out a tire fund. This is stuff that I will never forget. We actually had to take out a tire fund donation. That way that every week when my car tires was getting slashed, I didn't have to rob Peter to pay Paul out of my own bill money to make sure I'm paying for my own tires, that I could actually have money. And that's sad. It was good that you guys did that, and I love that, and thank y'all. But that's sad. Why did I have to be targeted like that? And still to this day, that's why I hate riding places. That's why I always go riding with someone from the West Coalition, someone from my family that takes me, because I am a target. I got a target on me. But the thing was, when I was getting targeted, I didn't have, Lisa, the good part about this with Tia, they have so-called politicians that are acting like they're doing something and they're calling the FBI and all this stuff. But I didn't have that. When I was getting all my death threats, hang up from a tree, we're going to come kill you, we're going to rape you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. All type of horrific things. I'm talking about sending me horrible messages. And then it got to the point, it wasn't even just on my inbox and my different media venues. It was to my personal phone. Then I got another phone. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this phone that nobody knows about. And I was getting calls to that phone, threats to that phone, this is real. But I had no one that literally, besides the boots on the ground people, and was to the point, Ted Sutton, Dr. Ted, let me throw some respect on my brother name. Dr. Ted Sutton. I never forget when I met him. He like, sweetheart, throw me them car keys. He was like, I'm gonna sleep inside the car. I wish somebody would come past, and do something, because it was making him mad that every time he would see me post in the morning, he'd see a tow truck or he'd see somebody fixing my damn tire. It was to the point, that was the first time Ted, I'm going to come meet this sister. I'm coming over West Wednesday. He came, he spoke up, he grabbed that mic. And I remember one time when Abdul Salam, which was one of the victims that you guys just saw on the video, that was talking about his son at the time, recalls the incident as it happened yesterday, speaking in terms of his son that pretty much watched him get terrorized and beat down by the killer cops that murdered, the first two killer cops that started murdering my brother. Well, anyway, You know, my whole point is when, I met all of these brothers, they came down because they heard me speaking and they heard about all the foolishness about my ties. And I'll never forget when Abdul, like I said, Abdul Salam had won his case. Unfortunately, it was a civil case, because when you got a prosecutor that won't prosecute killer cops, we need some type of retribution. So, of course, he went to the civil thing to where so he wanted, something to happen, some type of form of accountability, which to me, that's not accountability when somebody just writes you a check. But he forfeits, he got a trial and everything. He proved to the world by his own pick people that he selected, jury people, to say, you know what, they came to the conclusion that Ruiz was guilty as hell. Ruiz, Omar, and Chapman was, found guilty for beating and assaulting him in front of his son. But I remember that day we went to court, and I'll never forget. And we did a big protest downtown because he had won. I was so happy, and I always act in the spirit. And something just told me, hey, toss Uncle Bill my car keys, let him go. And, because I'm thinking I'm parking somewhere safe. I'm like, as long as they get me every week for my car type, but maybe if I park, which was foolish, right? Maybe if I park under the bridge where all the police cars, they won't mess with me because they know there's cameras right there. Man, they got me good. They probably said, she came to the devil's playground. We got her. And I'll never forget when Uncle Bill called me, say, your car tire not moving. Like, what you mean? Like, I came there, long story short, I'll never forget, him and JC sat with me damn near 24 hours, because I'm thinking, like, well, maybe I hit a pothole. I know, because, the city of Baltimore was tore up. So literally when I called roadside service, they're like, well, what happened? I'm like, like my car tire, like, literally just came, like, all the way off. And she was like, well, was the axle or anything broke? I said, no. I said, I think I hit a pothole coming, because you always hitting potholes in the city. Like, I'm always catching a little one, a small one. So I'm like, well, I had to have hit a pothole. So I called it in as a pothole. And literally because of that, they raised my insurance up because they said I lied, because they found out the car tire, which JC looked at. He said, wait a minute, I see bits of metal in the inside. He said, somebody cut they must try to kill you. They cut your tire away from the axle. He was like, oh my goodness. And like, he just saw it. Like, he took pictures of it and everything. And when I took it up, we got it towed to the shop. I'll never forget. They only, like, my insurance only covered one tire, which was like $450. But I literally had to come out my pocketbook and pay $1,850 because they said that they looked at A-Rays, so they said it was a false claim because they said it was cut. And I'm like, well, I don't know who the hell. I didn't cut my own, axle away, the car tire away from the axle. But my whole point is, when you go out here, boots on the ground, you have to be prepared for whatever the enemy is going to send your way. Because trust me, they're going to send people at you. They're going to try to make your name look bad. They will do all sorts of things to make you look bad or to try to hurt you. But my biggest, to me, protection has always been God above. That's Tawanda. I believe in God. I believe that God directs my path. When God tells me don't go somewhere, I don't go. When God tells me to move this way, I move. And then also the biggest thing, me always putting out what's happening to me. I don't never keep secrets. So when I have a state trooper showing up at my new home for no reason, asking me about a house that was getting worked on, do I know if any drugs or guns and that foolishness, and I don't even live in a bad neighborhood type of thing. And I share my ring at camera videos with you when they doing stuff. Last summer, y'all remember when my friend had hooked me up and was putting beautiful plants all around my home. Somebody was destroying property on my front, knocking my pretty flowers over, and they knew what they was doing because they were pretty much stop my camera device because it always say the video was not captured or whatever. And I'm like, what? And then I go out there and right where the camera, wasn't directly on it, those flower pots was getting tore up. And this is sad, but again, you can knock flowers over, you can cut ties, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm going to continue on fighting, not only for my big brother, Tyrone West, but for Timothy Flemings. I'm going to continually fighting for Anthony Anderson. I'm going to continuously fight for Nicole Pettiford, who didn't see accountability for her father-in-law or her daughter, her baby girl, Aja. I'm going to fight constantly. My sister Angela, for Timothy Flemings, like for all the victims, known and unknown. I'm going to fight for y'all. I'm going to fight. I'm never going to sell my soul. I don't care. They couldn't write me a check big enough to sell my brothers and sisters out. And I remember when I turned down their blood money, they, tried to offer me something, a side deal. I'm like, take that and stick it where the sun don't shine. And guess who came down and covered that? I had all the media, but the one that was really on top of it was Real News. They came out there and they covered it. And I even made sure they shared the part that you bring me in the same room where you offer a Caucasian family $1.5 million for killing their cute little pup. But then for my brother, $1 million, like, get out of here with the foolishness. Nobody has time for that foolishness. And that's exactly what it is. And I know I'm scrambling, but one more thing that I will scramble on, it was very disappointing to me that it was a guy, I think it was in Federal Hill, but it was a poor old nice white Caucasian fella that they said, I didn't know him, but just doing my research, they said this white guy was a real sweetheart to like his community. He would help people and, whichever way he can, an elderly man. He would go around if he had money, he'd give you a couple dollars. And it was a young white thug. And now let's talk about white on white crime. They always talk about black on black crime. We're like, who made that foolishness up? But anyway, I'm going to talk about white on white crime today. So anyway, we have this young white thug that decides that he said something to this elderly man, and he beat this man down, killed this poor man, and the man, may he rest in peace. My heart goes out to the family, not trying to traumatize anybody. The whole thing was really sad and heartbreaking. But the thing is, when you have a white thug that kills somebody, they pretty much gave him a slap on the wrist. They pretty much, I think he got like 24 years, but all suspended, but 12 years. 12 years for a brutal execution beating of this poor elderly guy. He got 12 years. And probably don't even have to do that because you get good time. So I'm thinking the most he probably do if he do that is maybe 8 years with that. Probably, and that's a long stretch. But I guarantee you, if that was a black man that murdered that nice young white elderly man, he wouldn't have never seen the streets again. Show me where I'm wrong at. No one can show me that. But like again, when white crime happens, they do everything to protect white blood. It's always a saying that I used to hear, and I still believe is true. When you're white, you're right, which is very wrong. But that's the way America looks at it. When you're white, you're right. And that's so sad. That's disgusting to me. But I know I babbled on, and I'm going to stop right there. But I'm going to go to the questions and comments. And then after the questions and comments, we're going to actually go to the sad list because we have a lot of names tonight. We have over 49 names tonight. I believe it was 49, and Uncle Bill and my brother Brian will be splitting them in half, and brother Brian will be coming on with the community violence list first, and then they're going to take half and split it up tonight. So with that being said, my Queen Rachel, do you mind checking our community? Do you mind checking for our comments and questions right now, please? Mic check.
Yes, I can definitely read the comments that we had. Mic check.
Mic check.
So first we start with mic check. I shared that on Wednesday. Can you all hear me still?
You're on and off.
Yeah, I can barely hear you.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, I'll start over. So first we have Ansel Jones, who said mic check. Mainism also said mic check. I shared the link for next Wednesday's Red Emma's event. So if anyone would like to attend, the tickets are for free, I believe. So just click that and you can get it. yes, Tawanda, trust your intuition. And Judah said mic check. And those are all of our comments tonight. So mic check.
Mic check.
Awesome. Mic check. And thank y'all so much for the comments, and thanks for sharing the link. So I will again be sharing that link so you guys can get the tickets and you can get them for free. Just click on the link and make sure you share that. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in person next week. So I'm not gonna read the I'll disclaimer, but I'm just gonna say it from my heart and do it the best way I can, just for time's sake. And then we're gonna take 1 minute of silence and we're gonna go straight into our set list. So it is the mission of the West Coalition to pretty much just get out the names of victims that were murdered by police and community violence. Just show them respect and love. We're coming from a loving place. We don't know any information about the cases. We get them from the local and the national news media. So we have no idea about, any of the circumstances surrounding the case. We just know that someone was murdered, and murder to me is, and I always said, no one, and I'm going to live and stand on this, no one deserves to be brutally murdered or assaulted. Like, that's just sad, it's disgusting, it's heartbreaking, so we believe in mediation. We believe that if someone is having any type of conflict, you could just sit down and talk about it. Because guess what? When you sit down there and you take the time to talk about it, to resolve it in a respectful way, both parties lives. And not just that, when something happens to one person, family members, you're literally killing communities. Because guess what? Each person that is murdered is attached to a family, that's attached to a community of loved ones and people that love about them. Even the people that you don't like, everybody has someone that loves them, someone that will be hurting and mourning behind their death. So just keep that in mind, and just, like I always say, live to love, love to live. And again, we're going to take 1 minute. Again, I just want to remind you, we believe in mediation, we believe in love, we believe in integrity. So we're going to take 1 minute. The time now is 7:45. You pray, say a prayer. If you don't, that's fine. Say nothing but healing, love, do our way. So 1 minute. Mic check.
Mic check.
And I'm actually sorry, the time now is 7:46 or 7:47. We'll come back because it just turned, a minute. Sorry about the time difference. Mic check.
Mic check.
Okay, the time now is 7:47, so I'm going to bring my brother Brian on. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Thank you, Tawanda. This week we have a short list. It's very rarely short enough, but we're always thankful for what we get. And as Tawanda said, each of these people represents a whole world of friends and neighbors and family and loved ones. And so I would just ask you to echo their names back to me as I read them off. Christopher Banks.
Christopher
Banks.
Banks.
Derek Lamb.
Derek Lamb.
Lamb.
Freddie Lau.
Freddie Lamb.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Brian. So, Uncle Bill, do you want to start with the first half and then Brian could take the other half?
Yes. Yes.
Thank
So this evening we're upholding and honoring 49 people whose lives were stolen by the police in the latter half of the month of March, going from March the 16th to March the 31st. The 49 stolen lives works out to just over 3 per day, which unfortunately is the norm in the United States and has been for quite a while now. Sometimes it's creeping up much higher, as Adina often points out, and she's right about that. The first person we're upholding this evening is from Wassalia, Arkansas. He was 34 years old. His name was Brett George.
Brett George.
Brett George.
Thank you. By the way, I should mention that the people killed by police in this time frame, these 16 days, range in age from 18, who was the youngest, to a gentleman who was 75. Second,
Disgusting.
yes, exactly. Second, from San Antonio, Texas, 43 years old, Miguel Marin.
Miguel
Marin.
In Ravenna, Ohio, a man named Sean Ware.
Sean
Ware.
In Crofton, Kentucky, 39 years old, Patrick Martinez.
Patrick Martinez.
At Modesto, California, 40 years old, Jimmy Roop.
Jimmy Roop.
Jimmy Roop.
From Catawba, Kentucky, 30 years old, Jedediah Skinner.
Jedediah
Skinner.
From Pueblo, Colorado, 34 years old, Billy Soto.
Billy Soto.
From Vanceburg, Kentucky, 49 years old, Keith Truesdell.
Keith Truesdell.
From Aurora, Illinois, 19 years old, Christopher Leap.
Christopher
Leap.
From Pell City, Alabama, 22 years old, Pierce Cole.
Pierce
Cole.
From Cincinnati, Ohio, 48 years old, Samuel, and I hope to pronounce his last name well, it's Mumyarutiti. Let me say it once more, Samuel Mumyarutiti.
Samuel Mumyarutiti.
Samuel Mumyarutiti.
Good work. From Seattle, Washington, 36 years old, Urban C.A.
Urban
C.A.
From Pinehurst, North Carolina, 37 years old, Sawyer Fry.
Sawyer
Fry.
From Gilmore, Arizona, 54 years old, Joe Versi.
Joe Versi.
From Chicago, Illinois, 43 years old, Devin Smith.
Devin Smith.
From Saltville, Virginia, a man whose age is not given, and the police have at this point withheld his name. Ashe. From Denver, Colorado, again, a man whose name was withheld by the police and whose age is also unknown.
Cell blocks for
Killer Cops.
And for those unfamiliar with it, Ashe, as I understand, is a Yoruba word which means let it be so. So when we say that, we're meaning let it be so when we say cell blocks for killer cops. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 36 years old, Aaron Rainey.
Rainey.
I'm sorry, maybe I didn't pronounce it clearly. Aaron Rainey.
And Rainy.
Rainy.
All right, from Moore, Oklahoma, 19 years old, James Collier.
James Collier.
Collier.
And I have to make an adjustment because this name is really long to see it. From Chandler, Arizona, 27 years old, Messiah. He's got a hyphenated last name, so let me just try to say the main parts of his name. Messiah Shamel McMillan.
Messiah Samuel McMillan.
McMillan.
Good work.
Mhm.
And then from Lenore, West Virginia, again, a man whose age has not been announced and whose name has been withheld by the police.
Cell
Cell
block
blocks
for
for Killer Cops.
Ashe.
Ashe.
From Fenton, Missouri, 38 years old, Alexander Lannis.
Alexander
Lannis.
From Needles, California, 39 years old, Michael Richard III.
Michael Richard III.
From Constantia, New York, 32 years old, Miles Dignean.
Miles
Dignean.
And the last person I'll be announcing this evening and honoring is from Las Vegas, Nevada. He was 68 years old, Robert Finello.
Robert Finello.
And Brother Brian is going to do the rest of the list, the rest of the list, so that I'm not traumatized too badly by dealing with so many police killings. All right, to you, Brian.
Thank you, Bill. So March 21st in Constantia, New York, a 32-year-old man, Miles Dignean.
Miles Dignean.
Wow.
Brian, I think we did him and the next victim of police brutality, Robert Finello. So we're up to Adam, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were going in the other direction.
Yeah, from the bottom
sorry.
up. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
So on March 23rd in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, a 36-year-old male, Adam Thomas Peeler.
Adam Thomas Peeler.
Thomas Peeler.
Also on the 23rd in San Antonio, Texas, 27-year-old male, killed by police, Max Dominguez.
Max Dominguez.
On the 24th in Little Rock, Arkansas, a 23-year-old male, killed by police, Willie Joe Larry Perdaman.
Willie Joe Larry Perdaman.
Sorry, that was a hyphenated last name and a first name that he probably went by. On the 25th in Florence, Alabama, a 26-year-old male, Lewis Hill.
Lewis
Hill.
No.
Also on the 25th in San Diego, California, a 59-year-old male, killed by police, Eric Kulikow.
Eric
Kulikow.
On the 25th in Travelers Rest, South Carolina, a 75-year-old male, killed by police, Jesse Wright Sr.
Jesse
Wright Sr.
Lastly on the 25th, killed in Arkansas, but no town given, a 29-year-old female, Laterica Woods.
Laterica Woods.
Excuse me a second. There we go. On the 26th in Olivehurst, California, a 60-year-old male, Rick Oliver.
Rick
Oliver.
Also on the 26th in Huntington Park, California, a 27-year-old male killed by police, Jonathan Lozano.
Jonathan Lozano.
Yeah.
In St. Joseph, Missouri, on the 27th, an 18-year-old male killed by police, Braden M. Robertson.
Braden
M. Robertson.
On the 27th in Warsaw, Kentucky, a 54-year-old male killed by police, James Walter.
James
Walter.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Let's see. On the 28th in Lambsburg, Virginia, a 29-year-old male killed by police, Edmund Johnson.
Edmund
Johnson.
On the 28th in somewhere in Arkansas, a 36-year-old male killed by police, Revale Murphy.
Revale Murphy.
On the 29th in Hartford, Maine, a 51-year-old male killed by police, Eric Newell.
Eric Newell.
On the 29th in Orangevale, California, a 67-year-old male killed by police, Kenneth Vaughn.
Kenneth Vaughn.
On the 29th in Stuart, Florida, a 36-year-old male killed by police, Kenneth Cook.
Kenneth
Cook.
On the 30th of March in Williamsburg, Virginia, 57-year-old male killed by police, James Evans.
James
Evans.
On the on the 30th of March in LaSalle, Illinois, killed by police, name, sex, and age are withheld by police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. On the 31st, should be still on the third? No, this is on the 30th. I'm sorry. In Saginaw, Michigan, 33-year-old male killed by police, Corin Mitchell.
Corin
Mitchell.
On the 30th, in Jacksonville, Florida, a 28-year-old male killed by police, Alquan Suidam.
Alquan
Suidam.
Thank you. On the 31st, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, male of unknown age, name is withheld by the
cell blocks
for killer cops.
Ashe.
Also on the 31st in Colorado Springs, Colorado, male of unknown name, age, and name is withheld by the police.
Cell blocks
for killer cops.
Ashe.
Ashe. On the 31st in Martinez, Georgia, a male of unknown age, and the name is withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. And our last name on the 31st from Watford City, North Dakota, 65-year-old male killed by police, Walter Fitzwater.
Walter Fitzwater.
And that is the end of our list for the dates from the 16th to the 31st of the past month.
Thank you, Brother Brian, and thank you, Uncle Bill. Sorry you guys got to go through that, and definitely not trying to traumatize you. I want to thank my sister, Rachel, who always comes through. And I wanted to give her, when I was celebrating the Queens or just acknowledging them in their hard work and efforts and everything that they do, definitely want to give a real special shout out, my Queen, you know, for just stepping up and just always being here. So just thank you. A big shout out to the West Coalition and a shout out to everybody. Remember, live to love, love to live. I love you all. And we cannot wait to see you guys next West Wednesday in person at Red Emma's Bookstore at 7 p.m. So unfortunately, the way we brought you in with the video, we're going to have to close out with the same video. But make sure you make sure you watch it. And just share this if you're on YouTube. Hit the share, like, subscribe, and the notification bell, so that way you could be brought West Wednesday daily every week, no matter where we are. To love, love to live, love you all. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you want to talk to me? Why would you say that?
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges, like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's attorney see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.